I don't know. These actually might be the worst one because we've actually tried more on this one than any other.
That's true.
I already feel the tingles. Oh god!
But we've successfully started this with the least amount of technical issues we've ever had so far.
That's true.
So I suppose that's good. Okay, so
right.
Hi, this is John, and with me as always is
Jason.
Where's your head at?
Oh no! Oh no! You started it.
The basketball anthem songs of like the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, I'm just gonna say that I really sort of miss that era of music because I wasn't really into it at the time, but I enjoyed it. I didn't like seek it out, but like Too Unlimited and Space Jam music and all that kind of stuff. Very charming to your tag team, Whoop There It Is, 69 Boys. Like you had like these really just sort of like anthem style songs that were great for like movie credits or like exciting sports action scenes or whatever. And I really miss something about that era of like silliness and cheese.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere with this. I'm just thinking about how much I like the feeling of like it's sort of like this crazy sports arena music.
Yeah. It's what it feels like to me. It feels like America was trying to not be racist during that time. Like it was actively.
Yeah. I think that's they really wanted to push this sort of like media agenda of hey, look, we're inclusive, so
yeah.
Here's exclusively songs from various ethnic groups.
That's what I think. But,
yeah. Various ethnic groups. Yeah, it's really like this sort of like a very specific kind of culture that they were really pushing and going for and thinking, hey, yeah, look, we're inclusive. Look.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's the middle of August.
It is the middle of August. It's the 11th according to my clock.
Okay, so it's like a third of the way through August.
That's close.
It's closer than the middle. The middle's going to be what, 15th, 16th, 15th and a half.
I don't know algebra.
Did you ever feel that in high school you excelled in math in any way? Or was math one of those things that like was it something that you could do and you just didn't, or did you struggle with it, or did you simply not care?
I felt accomplishment and I felt good and smart as long as I did the work. So let me explain that. When you go to school, like 60% of the time or 70% of the time, like I did, you miss a lot of classes.
Sure.
So on the times that I didn't learn the formulas and I didn't do the exercises and read the books and stuff, then I hated math because I didn't get a chance to take a swing at it. But on the days that I did show up and applied myself, I did feel that little ting of achievement when I heard the explanation, I asked my questions, and then I did 20 of the problems, and I'm like, hey, wait, math, you could do it.
Yeah,
it's possible.
Okay. So once you sort of got like the math is literally formulas, once you sort of understood how it worked, because it's very straightforward, it felt good.
It did. It felt like that little thing inside of every human where you get to like check off a box. You know what I mean? Like
sure.
Achievement.
Oh,
There's a reason why Xbox and you know what I mean? Why they little they put those little notifications. High. Yeah. It's like, oh wait, I am achieving. Yeah.
What do you think your greatest achievement is? And it could be school related, it could be video game related, it could be life related.
I would say my greatest achievement, honestly, is not doing drugs. That's a super lame answer, but it's truly the only thing that I could look back on and be like, yeah, I did that one right.
Well, I mean, both of us. This is something about both of us that I think maybe most people know is that like neither of us have ever actually tried anything.
Yeah. Nope.
We just sort of skipped past it, did our thing, hung out, played video games, ate bad food, and laughed a lot.
Yeah. My drug is definitely bad food, salt, caffeine. But beyond that, I never partaken?
Parcheesi, I think partially cheesy. Um, you never Beyond Meat though. Did you ever do Beyond Meat?
I did Beyond Meat. That's the fake meat at Costco, right? That's like the...
Yeah, there's a couple different places you can get like Impossible Burgers and things like that. But Beyond Meat, it's pretty impressive as far as I'm concerned.
I've hit the Beyond Meat, but I'm an Impossible man. I feel like there's more artificial, like heart clogging. You know what I mean? Hydrologized something in there.
You want the simulation of things that are still bad for you.
Oh yeah. Unless I feel my you know what I mean, like the cholesterol building, I'm like, I'll pass.
Okay, so yeah, it's not in the taste; it's in the detriment.
Correct.
Okay. Good.
But I have been hitting the oat milk recently. Oat milk.
Oat milk. Oat milk is good.
You've already hit this. It's new
yeah,
to me. It's new.
I've done oat milk with it was chocolate oat milk, like a hot cocoa oat milk that I got from a vegan place down here, and it was absolutely delicious.
Yeah, I'm so far satisfied with that milk alternative. Like it's thick enough that it satisfies the texture a little bit, and that the flavor profile is close enough to where I'm not, you know what I mean, where I'm not like, nah, that's not infected cow nipple. Yeah.
You need that illusion as well too. Do you want to know that it's from a cow? Or do you want to pretend that it's from a cow?
If somebody gave me something and they presented it as cow milk, and you know what I mean, and it was close enough, I would be happy with that. But the fact that I know that it's rice milk or soy drink or almond whatever,
sure,
I go in already judgmental. You know what I mean?
Okay, so you're defensive right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm that white family in the 40s and 50s when the Robinsons move in, or the Browns, the Johnsons. You know what I mean?
Sure.
We're like, there goes the neighborhood.
Right, yeah, exactly. You're spelling doomsday already.
Exactly. I
Good.
have preconceived notions.
Good. I think that's a healthy perspective to have. So, what I wanted to actually start with was, we had one user question. I put this thing out there right at the beginning of the night.
Hit it.
It is not a question that is pertinent to anything that we are doing.
That's perfect. That's fine.
It's a question about a different podcast. But I felt like this is the place to answer it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Opinions are what we do, because I don't have any actual facts.
Sure. Okay. So the question is, Blue Lady anytime, which is, John, are you going to do the Blue Lady podcast anytime soon?
Mm-hmm.
So, and right now the answer is no, simply because Michelle and I, that I do the Blue Lady podcast with, our schedules are completely incongruent. And anytime that I'm available, which is late at night, 10:30, 11, she is not, because she works early and goes to bed early. Or works, early on both counts.
Yeah, that sucks.
So, but I mean, this is nice for me because I do get the chance to still scratch that podcast itch, speak with somebody fun. And what I like too, I know I'm speaking kind of quickly. I'm trying to slow it down, but I get excited.
I like your excitement.
Okay, I'm glad. But I feel that we've actually had the opportunity to talk about some kind of cool like life stuff and growing stuff and personal building, talking about our follies and our foibles from our youth, and having seen each other through that over the past 20-something years has been a cool experience. That's similar to what I've done with Blue Lady Podcast, Michelle. But it's also nice to talk about the same things with a different perspective for things that were presented in a different style,
Totally.
We got a very different experience together, so.
Exactly. It's the difference between talking about, how do I put this? Talking to a mechanic about your car, or talking, to your friend about what you think is going on in a car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's a world of difference.
It's similar subject matter, but you could totally, you know what I mean? You get totally.
Yeah, like if you ask your dad how something works and he doesn't know, he's just going to make something up that sounds right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what we do.
Exactly.
That's good enough.
Exactly, sir. Well, I feel bad that I didn't listen to more of the Blue Lady podcast. Strictly an issue of just, it never crosses my mind to be like, oh,
Sure.
I wanted to listen to that. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
if Frankie, another friend of mine, he does like Twitch stuff and stuff, and I always be like, oh, I want to watch that, and I literally
Yeah.
never do. Nothing personal. I just once I'm done with dinner, I watch a Netflix, and then it's time for bed.
Yeah.
I watch walk the dog, and it's over.
Yeah. What's on Netflix?
Oh, we've been hitting some documentaries about old people in Florida. There's like a huge neighborhood.
What is the documentary about? Old people in Florida.
That's all it is. It's just a film crew went down there. Apparently, it's like the largest retirement place in the United States. It's like
Okay, so it's not just old people
140,000
happen to be in it. You're talking like this is an old people documentary.
Yeah, it's a documentary just covering the types of people that would move down to Florida in this one community that's the size of like a city. There's
Sure, that's kind of
140,000
interesting.
people that live in this retirement community.
Okay, so I mean, like, does it talk about like what they do when they're bored, or like where they go, what they eat, like how they interact? What's
Yeah, it's just
what's there to film?
they put a camera behind people and just film whatever they say. And so if the person wants to talk about how they're trying to get married, or they've come there to die and party up until their dying day, or it's like Disneyland, where you could live inside of a bubble and choose to ignore the outside world. It's just a whole bunch of different reasons. People go down there for a whole bunch of different reasons, you know, and it's just interesting.
Okay.
I never once even knew that existed.
Yeah, that's kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. What about
Okay,
you?
so I mean, I'm watching a handful of shows right now. Some stuff on Apple TV, some stuff on Netflix here and there. Yeah, there's a really good show that I've been watching in the face of the pandemic last year and a lot of mental health struggles, called Ted Lasso.
Oh, the positive guy. I've seen the commercials.
Dude, it is
I want to watch
otherworldly.
it. I want to watch it, but it's like one of the few streaming services I don't have access to. You know what I'm saying?
I'll
Like,
hook you up.
We
I'll hook
pay.
you up.
Oh yeah.
I'll hook you up. I know Steve Apple. Yeah, we're good.
You know the guy. You know.
Yeah.
Steve Jobs
I
or
gotcha.
whatever. Yeah.
No. Oh, no, that guy's
Apple.
dead. Steve Apple. Yeah. Yeah. His successor is alive and well and helping me hand out free accounts to everybody.
Good man.
Yep. He's a very good man. It's good, great for business.
It's about
They don't
soccer.
need any more
Well,
money.
not about soccer, but it's got soccer in it, right?
It's about soccer the way that Rocky's about boxing, you know?
Yeah.
It's more about soccer is there, but it's a remarkable show. I haven't watched anything that's made me feel that good in a really long time.
I'll have to watch it. I'm already sold in it just when I saw the commercials.
Sure.
Because the guy's smiling all the time, and I'm like, I like smiling people.
He's great. He's just great. It's great. But I've been watching other shows here and there. There's a comedy show that I've been watching that I can't tell if you would hate it or love it, because our comedy brand is like so specific that it's one of those things that like I feel like there's elements that I would want you to like, but I feel like you might hate, but you also love it, but you hate it more than you love it.
Yeah.
And
I
so
have
it's
to
hard.
overcome the initial urge to be a hater.
Yeah, it's
you know what I
it's
mean?
really uncomfortable humor, and I really enjoy that. So that's why I feel like it's something that I want to show you. But it's called I Think You Should Leave.
Ooh, hold on. I'm popping open the
Oh,
notepad.
you're gonna browse, yeah. Or you're gonna
I think you should leave.
yeah, and just like watch the first episode, and all the way through, I think it's good. And but I think it's humor that also took me a little bit to sort of like watch an episode or two to see if it was my style. But every time I go back and watch it, it's funnier and funnier to me. So maybe you might like it, might hate it. I don't know. I have no idea. We can report back next week or next session and see what you think.
Yes, I think you should leave. What station?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix. Got it.
Yeah.
Adding that Netflix.
Netflickers.
Thank you. I'll
Thank
put
you.
it on my list.
Perfect.
Yeah. What did you want to talk about today? We were nerds, and we put a list of potential things we wanted to talk about to see if that helps or takes away from the podcast.
No, I think this is great, actually, because you have like a sort of a 4 or 5, maybe actually 6 bullet points. And you had come to the conclusion last time that we should have some sort of like Google Doc that we share and we add to. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a terrific idea. You've already added a bunch of stuff in there. And I mentioned this to you earlier via text, is that I think of a lot of ideas when I'm driving, but because I'm driving, I don't write them down anywhere. And so by the time I'm done driving, I've forgotten because
Yep.
that's, my attention span is so short
Yeah.
that
You're
I
no
lose it
longer
right
in
away.
flow. You're no longer in creative mode, and then
I'm finally.
done.
It's all business. The moment I put that car in park, like I furrow my brow and I'm ready to go tear up some numbers.
Wall Street
Yeah, that's
guy.
right.
Just make that sale. Make that sale.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. No more bullshit. So
Well, I do the same thing, but since I work at home, I've been slapping myself on the forehead and being like, all right, make an effort to jot down your thoughts. So,
yeah.
I'll be cooking or Michelle and I will be doing something and I'll have a thought. Oh, the first thing on our list is talking about motivational songs or because the Olympics just happened.
The Olympics. Okay.
All right.
So the Olympics. Do the Olympics inspire you?
The Olympics do not inspire me, John.
Oh no, I feel like because to me, in my mind, you have like this idea that like pantheons full of like well-built Greek men are just like doing all these incredible sports, and all of it is perfect and godly. And then after that, they go out and fight in like this perfectly unified army and kill the opponent.
You're so super close, but I get tripped up on the silly little details of the Olympics.
All right, like what?
Like everything you described is accurate, except for I hate the fact that it's a staged competition. It's what I mean. Like if you were to apply everything you said, but apply it to like some sort of actual, Spartan versus the other nations that are attacking or whatever, right?
Sure.
Right. Then I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. But the fact
So you want them to arbitrarily kill each other and not like have some sort of game plan.
That's correct. Well, I'm jaded now that I'm older, and I know that the technology of the sneakers and the technology of the physical materials in the running. Basically what I'm saying is records are being broken all the time, but you have to think, you have to wonder, is it because of the advances in our material sciences? Or is it because athletes literally are bigger, stronger, faster? So, and that's my jaded.
So would you feel better if they were like raw dogging their feet out on the track and not using anything to like enhance comfort or grip? It was all just completely like raw. They had like loincloths and basic attire, but like, would you feel more comfortable if they were all just using the raw power of their bodies to prove something rather than saying, well, this sneaker might have an advantage or these hand wraps might, account for something?
I think I'd be more intrigued by just the idea of the competition. Because
okay.
And here's the only example I'll give, which is, it might not even apply to here, but okay, so if you look at soccer, the World Cup, all these nations participate. All these nations have amazing athletes, right? And yet only some nations consistently rise to the top. And I always ask myself, why? Is it because their players are just raised? Are they better athletes? Is it the fact that there's more money involved, so like they could focus entirely on their craft and not have to be starving and like
sure,
forego practicing or whatever? Anyway, it bothers me that there's like no African nation that have ever won the World Cup. It bothers me that that's the common theme. That there's only.
So you'd like to see more of like an equal playing field, like a more equitable playing field,
correct,
rather than whatever potential privileges are afforded to nations that can afford them.
That's exactly right.
And see what kind of difference that actually makes. If everybody had 100% equal opportunity and training grounds to perform, what kind of difference that would make.
Then I'd be more interested as far as whether or not this is actual competition. There's always cool storylines, of course.
Sure. But I truthfully have no idea how even these things are. They might have like dedicated facilities come, training time that are meant for this, but I don't know. I do not know the depths, but that's actually a really good question.
It's just food for thought.
Sure.
And but the reason why I was so interested in the Olympics this year is because, dude, I'm super into national anthems.
Oh yeah. So you like the idea that a country has like a theme song?
Yes. The fact that like there's nothing more moving to me, but maybe because I'm brainwashed since early, what I mean, Jason McKenna is sitting there seeing the Marine commercial where the Marines are standing on the cliffs of America and by the rivers and protecting our border. You know what I mean? Like,
You've always liked these sort of organized units
Yes.
that like stand for, okay.
yes. So like when I hear the anthems, like
Especially
it's
holy
just-
armies and stuff.
yes, John, because
Like,
you're
a front
doing
line of
something for a
paladins
bigger
is like your number one dream.
Yes, exactly. Because they're living their life for a greater cause.
Sure, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that emotionally moves me. Whenever I hear our national anthem, it actually brings tears to my eyes every single time. And Michelle
Sure.
looks at me and she is judging me hardcore every time. And I couldn't tell you why. Maybe I'm brainwashed, dude. But I hear that national anthem when it matters, you know, where people are
Sure.
putting their blood, sweat, and tears on the line for something. Like, I just get moved. Especially when the athletes themselves tear up, or they have, you know what I mean, where they express that there's something greater than themselves. It's just I get into that hard, bro.
Sure. No, I think it's a cool feeling to want to sort of like feel like by proxy you're part of that, by being in America, you are part of like, the backing force behind all of these people.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Just makes you feel good.
Okay. So the national anthem, is there a national anthem outside of the United States that you also really like, or are you aware of any? Oh, Canada.
Okay, I like a lot of the I like the Queen of England song, that's a goodie.
What's her song called?
I think it's called Our Lady the Princess Diana or something.
I don't know.
God Save the Queen? It's got to be God Save the Queen.
God Save the Queen is probably it, yeah.
But Canada's is good. There's a lot of them that are really iffy.
Okay, which ones do you not like? Which one do you hear and you just go, "Oh, I can't wait for you guys to get pounded"?
Yeah, to get militarily taken over.
Yeah. Which country do you wish to be overrun the moment you hear their song?
I'll be like, these people deserve to be completely wiped off. Oh, I couldn't tell you now. I couldn't
That's true.
before.
If you say it, then we're gonna get in trouble.
The FBI will know, John.
Are you planning a big coup? And if you say it, it'll give it away.
I've been sending some texts.
Speaking of text, I don't know if you follow me on Facebook that often. And if you don't, that's fair.
I get the little notifications that you're uploading photos of cats.
Do you get notifications that I'm uploading photos of conversations I'm having with scammers?
Oh, that's what. Okay, I actually wondered what those were. I didn't understand the theme. I couldn't follow the conversations, and I was like, I'm just gonna watch.
You have to kind of do it in order. And the problem with Facebook is that every now and then, if I were to upload like 10 pictures, sometimes like it'll show you like the post that says here's 10 pictures in it, but every now and then it'll just post like one of the pictures randomly and said John uploaded this, and it might be picture 7 of 10. And so in the greater whole of like this conversation, it would be completely out of context. So I have to like mark these things down as entire like posts for here's part 1 is in 20 pictures, part 2 is in 40 pictures, part 3 is in 60 pictures, and they're uploaded sequentially, and if you follow them on the post it will make sense.
Oh, okay.
And I might like lead you to one because I would like you to read this, at least part of it, but as of a couple of weeks ago, week and a half, 2 weeks, I don't know, I got a message from an Instagram bot. And usually, like, they'll say a couple things, I'll fudge with them, they'll recognize that I'm playing around, and then they just get mad and move on. And this whatever situation is happening right now, I am locked into some sort of fictional relationship with this scammer who either believes that they are really convincing me to like stick around because like they'll repeat things that I say and they'll retain information to like try to like make it feel believable. And either they really think that I'm on the hook, or they've given up and now they're just messing with me equally as much as I'm messing with them.
Yeah, you guys are both having a good time.
Oh, it's the greatest thing I've ever. And it is the most ridiculous, insane. And my purpose was to try to like say as much ridiculous stuff as possible to deter them. But the problem is they keep acknowledging it and repeating it without understanding it, I think. And so I'm saying insane things like, my children are starving to death. We really need you to feed them from, we need your breast milk to keep them alive. Will you feed them from your mommy milkers, or can they drink the milk from a jug on the porch? And the person will go, don't worry, You can have my mommy milkers. And, like, it's so, like, oh, okay, well, now they've actually responded with it. I have to keep going.
The rabbit hole.
It's ludicrous. And I'm having the most fun I've ever had. I'm just sitting here writing these things and laughing, Jason, by myself at 1 a.m. in my bed. And it's the most fun I've had. I don't know how long.
Wait, let me ask you. Maybe this has been gone over in the comments, but do you think it's an AI thing, or do you think it's a human? Like, what?
It is human. Yeah, because they acknowledge things and they repeat things and they ask questions, and they have, like, you know, an understanding of English decently well. But sometimes, you know, like, so it started off and they were like, you know, my name is Jennifer Williams. I'm from Fort Hood, stationed in Turkey. I'm a military whatever, and they'll send me a picture of, you know, some chick in camo gear. Okay, cool, whatever. And then I'll say, oh, ooh, that really sounds incredible. I'd love to hear more about Fort Hood. You know, do they have any hot cheerleaders or whatever? And then moments later, I'm like seconds later, an excerpt from, like, Wikipedia will pop up explaining what Fort Hood is in, you know, the most boring detail possible.
Holy
so, like,
cow.
You know, they're prepared to have information ready for me, so when I ask questions, they can verify how authentic they are, right?
Whoa.
Oh, it's ridiculous. However, I believe it has to be, like, it's almost assuredly some guy from India sitting in a cubicle, like, trying to, you know, get me to buy him bitcoins and iTunes gift cards. And it will, like, they'll play along with it for a while, but then if, like, an inconsistency pops up, like, they'll point it out. And my theory is that it's like their boss walking around telling him to close the deal, and, you know, but whenever it gets too ridiculous, you know, he gets upset because, you know, you're wasting your time, you know, go finish this job. But then I'll lie myself back into trust.
You're playing,
and, you know,
the game with them.
Oh, it's great. And, you know, and I'm talking about how affluent and how wealthy I am, so that way, you know, if they can strike this one, like, they've got the jackpot. Yeah, I've gone in and, like, taken screenshots of my phone and altered my bank accounts and my bank names to give them stuff that they can't actually look up, and then altered my bank account to have just stupid amounts of money, and it's a blast.
Now that I know the backstory, I'm into this.
I'll link you to the first one, and then you can read part of that, and then if you want to keep finding the other ones, I'll link you to those too if you want to see them. But it's the funniest thing I feel like I've done in a long time. It's like a live action fan fiction, because every time this person responds with things, I have to, like, have a rebuttal or a story. And right now, literally, there's established characters, there's established lore. I'm a 53-year-old man who's missing a leg. I have a daughter named Ox. I've got a dead son named Meat Man, named after.
They believe it.
Yeah, because they
Meat Man. Okay, so all right, this is where it's gonna get personal. Okay. Are you laughing more at their responses, or are you laughing more at your responses? You know what
so
I mean?
I laugh a lot at my responses. I feel that what I'm writing is extremely good, but every now and then they will say something that throws me so off guard that I can't not laugh at it. So we're having this conversation, you know, and this is like 70 pages deep on this stupid conversation. And I was like, look, I don't know how to tell you this, but we have a son, you know?
We, like, me and you?
Me and you, yeah. We have a son. I never told you about him because I wanted to keep him secret. He lives with his foster mom in a volcano. And I'm just going to pull this up because I thought this was the stupid, funniest thing I've ever seen. And this was all this person's response, which was making me laugh, like, way, way, way more. Let me see if I can find it. Okay.
I'm amazed that you get into these situations. I've never had
it's been terrific. I've never told you this, but you and I have a secret son, one to replace Meat Man, because in the lore, Meat Man was killed by his sister, who was trying to eat him to get to his Bitcoin.
Ox?
Yeah, Ox Kilgore. Yeah, his older sister. And they've got established ages and everything. I've really, like, this is a full-on D&D campaign. He's in the Hawaiian volcano. He lives there safely with his foster mother. I never told you about her to keep him safe. And then they just said, I hope you scanned the barcode I gave to you, because they're trying to get me to go to a Bitcoin machine to scan in barcodes to deposit money. And I said, I wanted you to meet him so bad. He's such a good boy. He looks just like you. Except he dresses in bright orange gear to make him easy to spot at night and from the air. But in a volcano, it's rough, since he's largely the same color as high-temperature lava. And so, like, they haven't said anything at this point. So I said, you can probably guess his name if you really wanted to. And she, Jennifer Williams, says, I'm not really good at guessing, my love. tell me, what's the kid's name? And I say to them, practice. You'll absolutely love it. You'll love guessing. Practice guessing. He loves you so much. He needs you to be the one to say it. He becomes only when you name him. And right after, this person, whoever this is, just says, I named him Stevenson. And I started laughing. This is the point where I had to stop for the night because I was laughing so much that they named my fictional kid. I named him Stevenson.
Son of Stephen.
Right, yeah. They picked out, and it didn't take them super long either, so it was like they had something they heard on a movie or I don't know where, but they had this name that popped out. Oh,
this
Jason.
Is great. This person is alt-tabbing, probably involved in 30 conversations at once, and then just
Yeah,
quickly
exactly.
popped into yours like his name is Stevenson, and then alt-tabbed immediately to another.
Just left to go elsewhere. Yeah, to fool some other old man. Okay, but I mean, that's what I've been up to these days. I don't know where the tangent went, but we were thinking about songs and national anthems and but motivational songs. So aside from even the national anthem, there's music, and you know what I'm talking about almost assuredly right now. There is a song that you and I grew up with that if we were to die and you wanted people to like weep tears of power,
Yes.
this is what they would play at the funeral, unquestionably.
Yes. It literally sinks to every soul on earth, this song.
And maybe I can even insert this into the podcast and the video. I'll do like a small, like the first 40 seconds or something. So
yeah, you don't want to demonetize this video.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yes. Stop our flow of income. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good song though.
Yeah. It's so before Guitar Hero, there was Guitar Freaks.
The greatest game of all time.
One of the most wonderful experiences I've ever had playing a video game with you. You and I would play this together feverishly,
Yes.
trying to outscore one another, trying to outdo one another. You and I had a really fun competitive edge.
Totally.
And, you know, when I was younger, I was a little bit more gung-ho about it. But at that time especially, we were always sort of at each other's throats, friendly and playfully, but still really wanting to win.
Yeah.
And Guitar Freaks, I feel, was a harder game than Guitar Hero. The buttons, there was only 3 of them, but like the timing window was so much tighter and so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first couple versions of the game, there was like no licensed music, and so it was all just like these crazy original Japanese songs that were being put in there. But you beat like Guitar Freaks Mix 1 or Mix 2 or whatever, and this song plays called J Staff.
Oh.
And like it just sounds like just glory.
It really is. It's an anthem to the human soul. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Dude,
yeah, it must be.
Let me tell you why I was so into that. Because we all played the game, and then we would all beat the game, so we would all hear the song at some point when somebody beat the game.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you know, I think it happened during a time in my life where I was thinking about the end. What does it all mean, you know?
I see,
what's
okay.
our place in
Like
the
big
cosmos?
picture.
Yeah, I big pictured it every time this song came on. And it was just so powerful to me listening to this song that like I had to tell you guys everybody, like when I die, this has to be played at the funeral. It has to.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only thing, because if that's the only thing I can contribute to this world is you guys being emotional at my funeral to this song, then I've achieved it.
Okay, I was thinking that like what you contribute to this world is playing somebody else's guitar music at at a funeral.
That's correct.
But I mean, I guess your choice in requesting that would be the artistic expression.
Yes, man.
Okay.
I mean,
it's great.
Yeah, I'm
it's a
pretty
great
sure
song.
that it's going to evoke emotions from you guys, and that's all
Yeah.
I care about.
Oh, assuredly. So okay, I'm going to play about 40 seconds of J Staff, and then we'll come back. Okay, cool. We're back.
We're back.
We're back. What'd you
The
think?
magic of editing. Dude, that sounds
Magic of
so
it.
good.
Exactly. I'm going to edit that. It's going to be awesome. Nobody's going to know.
Fun fact, Guitar Freaks, you were always way better at me at that game. And you did the Rockstar thing where you actually played with the guitar. I was a weirdo, and I always used the PS2 controller or PS1. I don't even know what system it was on.
You did use the controller. I think you practiced with the guitar for a bit, but you preferred the controller.
I preferred the controller, and the buttons were L2, L1, and right bumper, right directional.
There you go. Yeah.
Those were the 3 directions on how to highlight the things, and then you trigger X. You know what I mean? Is the
strum or whatever.
Strum. There you go.
Yeah.
So I would be there like an idiot in my mind. I'd be like, I could beat John because I'm a controller player. I'm gonna beat him. And yeah.
That's like the guy who shows up to the Smash Brothers tournament with like the sideways Wii remote.
Yes.
But also, don't underestimate that, because people who could learn to play with like those sort of more limited conditions could like wreck some shit, man.
I'm telling you, man. They see in a different dimension.
But what's great too is I still felt that like our skills were comparable in terms of playing this.
Nah, you always had me there. I would always give John's. John is like an excuse. It's just
right.
Yeah.
What Smash term is that? Where it originated from?
I heard it from Arizona and the Smash term. Correct. I learned it from them. John's is just silly excuses.
Right. Yeah. Somebody who just makes excuses a lot.
Yeah.
No Johns. Yeah.
No Johns. You got beat. But yeah, so that was always my excuse of why I lost. Well, I play with the controller, whatever, and then I would go and leave your house in rage, whatever.
With a can of corn.
Yeah. Well. Our brother's got to eat.
That's true. That's true. If you don't eat, you die. So, next bullet point.
Oh, next bullet point.
Yeah. Did you want to read this one? Because this seems like more of a concern for you than for me. But also, I feel it's not a concern for either of us, to be honest.
Okay, so here's the backstory. I was cooking food. I don't know what I was thinking. Probably making some chili or whatever. And I had this moment of dread where I was convinced that I told the same story twice during we've only done 3 episodes, and I'm convinced that I told the story where I called my friends to apologize for saying racially motivated things. Mm-hmm. I'm convinced I did that in like episode 1 and then episode 3, and I totally forgot. I don't know if it's true, but I had that. I was like,
now that you mention, I don't think so. I feel like it was only the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, then.
I mean, we might have talked about how he grew as people in the first episode, but I don't think that story specifically showed up.
Okay. Well, anyway, that was just my. I had a quick pang of fear. I'm like, oh no, I'm old. I forgot if I told that story.
No, yeah, that was very much about like the follow-up story where Louis C.K. went and apologized to Mark Maron like 2 years in a row for the exact same thing. It was like, yeah, that's
Okay. As long as
you
don't remember me telling me that story twice.
I don't think so. And if so, I mean, all of like, 3 minutes worth of dialogue.
Think about how pathetic that is, though. In 3 episodes, repeating the same story already.
We're old men. I think at this point, like, it's fine, We're allowed to do those kinds of things. If we were like, spry 22-year-olds, no, that's, your podcast has been canceled.
Cancel it.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's see here.
Let's see. I'm gonna read this real quick. Okay.
Oh yeah. So
read this idea out loud to me. I actually want to hear this sort of like projected into your own words. That way, we're not just sitting here reading in silence before we determine how to speak.
Dead air. So okay. So, during our first 3 episodes, we would always start the show off just talking about whatever. Usually just the same thing, being like, hey, how have you been? How's your life? Blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. And not really having anything of substance to contribute to people who are listening. It's just mostly me and you literally saying the happy things you say at the beginning of the conversation.
Just talking, yeah.
Yeah. But I was wondering if I had the idea of being like, well, we should maybe think about something that we care about and actually giving people our thoughts on it, on something that happened in the past 2 weeks. For instance, in this one, I wanted to talk about the Olympic stuff we already covered, but
Sure.
I also wanted to talk about just a quick little update of a side project that I'm doing.
Yeah,
Side
you had
project?
actually, mentioned this to me a couple. Was it like earlier this year or late last year? Sometime last year.
I think so. So 2020
Yeah.
hit. I got like not what is the I don't know the word furloughed. It's where you don't get paid for a
Oh.
while. You don't lose your employment. You're just
Right.
not getting paid because the company's afraid to go under, right?
Sure.
So it scared me. I hated the fact that I was no longer getting paid, and I hated just depending on one stream of income. So I learned the stock market as much as I could during that 2 weeks that I was off, and I decided that I'm going to do a side gig. I'm going to try and create another stream of revenue. So I researched the stock market, have been playing the stock market ever since. And the thing that I wanted to mention at the beginning of every episode, well, let's try it and see if people care, if they don't, whatever. But
Sure.
anyway, I highly suggest that you people out there, you too, John. I mean, you're a small business owner, so maybe it doesn't apply to you, but who knows, man? All I'm saying is that if people have more than one stream of revenue, you have a little bit more optionality in your life, no matter how small that income is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel a little bit better that if things went crazy again, maybe I could last another week, another 2 weeks, whatever it is, just a little bit of that cushion
Sure.
to prepare yourself. So the update that I wanted to give is not a what do you call that, a flex or whatever that the youngins say.
Young
This
and
is
flex. Yeah.
This is not a flex. This is just me. To anybody who knows me, you know that like I am the least successful person of all of the group. You know what I mean? I've had no gusto to go and be an executive. I'm no Adam Searle or young Searle, or you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But since I experienced this fright and learned the stock market and learned that it's not a scary thing that only rich people do, if I can learn it, you can learn it. But anyway, so far this year, 2021, I've turned around. I've profited 13,284, which isn't a lot of money to a lot of people out there, but to me, in my little world, that's a little bit of cushion.
I think so. I think especially just our economy and market, that's no small feat.
I'm proud of it. It's like going and getting a weekend job. You know what I mean? It's you're just helping yourself out slowly but surely.
Yes.
So that's my little update of what I've been doing the past 2 weeks. So
that's awesome. And so it's been going well for you. If you were to suggest, say someone wants to get into this and is very curious about how this functions, where do you point them to begin examining this kind of thing? Like you said you didn't know anything about it and just decided one day to do the research. So here's what I'm going to tell you real quick.
Shoot.
I am not going to call you an unsuccessful person.
Well,
I promise you. And this is not me just trying to be nice, but really taking the time to decide to make these choices for the betterment of yourself, for the comfort of you and your loved ones and your surroundings. That can be a really intimidating thing for a lot of people to do.
Yeah.
Because it's scary. Because like you said, the fear of what do I lose? What do I have to lose if I venture forth? And you, without maybe even knowing too much about it, did it anyway. You researched and you tried it, and it turned out that was actually successful.
Yeah.
So
you could do it. You could do it.
Where do you send somebody?
I would send somebody to you. There's endless resources on YouTube. There's endless Google searches. You youngins know how to use the Googles more than I do. But you could just, if you're curious about anything, you could reach out and learn it. You could do that with coding. You could do, you know what I mean? You could teach yourself anything these days. So I just did that with the stock market. I learned, how to open up a brokerage account. The very basics, literally opening up a broker. I didn't even know you needed a brokerage account to buy a stock. You know what I mean? I didn't even have that simple, fundamental step one. That's like, Anyway, I would send them to YouTube. There's just like anything else. Just be like, what is the stock market? Okay, what's a stock? What's a buy order? You know what I mean? Just you could teach yourself the fundamentals and realize that that you have a chance, you have a fighting chance to to invest in your own future. And I'm not even saying this in a boring term. I'm saying this like in a, when you get to my age, you're going to be like, well, I only have 20 more or 30 more years of working left, so that when I get to that retirement age, I need to know that, because I probably won't be able to work at that age anymore because I haven't taken good care of myself physically. So I need to just make better decisions and prepare for that future. So if I could do it, you could do it, and just go to YouTube.
You can do it from home. You can
you don't need a PhD.
It doesn't require you to have to go to college, or it's something you can still. This is kind of what's incredible to me, is college in a sense is almost rendered irrelevant by the fact that we have all necessary knowledge out there. We just have to find it, but it's online. It's there. It all exists.
It's there.
And that blows my mind.
I feel like college is like a rubbing elbows thing.
Right, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of networking involved, and there's definitely there's merits to college, but it's no longer, I think, perceived as necessary the way it once was.
No.
And that's really cool to me. Everything that I went to school for, I could learn online right now, all of it, every last thing. There's not one thing that I learned in either of my college experiences that I cannot get online easily. Mm-hmm. It's kind of remarkable.
It's scary, though, because the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? What is that old saying that, was
it Socrates? The more you know that you know nothing?
Exactly. Yeah. The greater your
the more
sphere
humbled
of knowledge,
you become.
the more surface area you realize of things that you don't know, right?
You keep unearthing more.
It's bigger,
absolutely.
And now you suddenly realize that you knew nothing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
absolutely. Saying? Ignorance is bliss, they say, If you think you're just at the small sphere of whatever it is, you're good, you're content, you're happy. Somebody here actually did have a question that they wrote just a couple minutes ago for us to talk about. And this is actually a really good one. Given that we both have experience enjoying playing and loving video games, where do you think video games and how they relate to technology and culture will be 10 years from now? What about 50 years from now?
Oh, you got to start this one off, buddy.
That's a great question.
That's a great question.
You froze on my end. I'm sure you're still talking and it's good to go, but on my end, you're...
Oh, no, really?
Yeah. I mean, as long as your stuff's good, we'll be fine. I'll edit it all together. We're good to go.
Yes.
But, that's a great question, because it's neat to think that in our lifetime, nearly 40 years worth of doing our thing, being alive, whatever it's been, we've seen a lot of growth in technology, from satellite dishes and color TVs. This is stuff that we haven't seen, of course. This is before us. But watching things sort of grow and expand on the video game market, from Nintendo being an 8-bit system to the Super Nintendo being a 16-bit system, and how important those qualifiers were. But then eventually that kind of hardware didn't matter, and it became a matter of storage space. You start moving on to CDs and then eventually DVDs. And how is that? What's the advantage of a cartridge over a CD? And a lot of big steps forward with... Sorry, are you still there?
I'm here. I could hear you 100%.
Okay, so you're good. Okay. As long as the conversation's going...
I never dropped
No, you're good. Your video just paused on me, so it looks like you're just in a perpetual state of shock.
Oh, no.
And that's totally fine. But I just want to make sure... but then you look at, then there's DVD capacity, but then how fast do the drives become? Then eventually how fast are the hard drives that are built into that? And then eventually are they SSD drives that can access memory fast enough to make the discs now irrelevant? And more of and so watching video games grow in terms of not only how they're made, but how they're presented. And then the presentation comes down to, now that we have the ability to literally make anything, why are people still making 8-bit games or 16-bit games or, PS1 era games? Mm-hmm. And respecting, these different art styles that they can now present. Watching video games evolve, we even have virtual reality. And I'd say very competent virtual reality, but the market hasn't leaned into that as heavily now that we can do it super well as maybe we thought they would 20 years ago. Why is that?
I don't know, man. All I know is that, what I don't know where games are going. I don't know how that's going to affect culture and stuff.
Sure.
Because I'm the old man on the porch on
The
this
curmudgeon.
one.
Yeah.
I'm the curmudgeon where I'm like, no, it's gonna ruin us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reason I think that is because I kind of do feel like games are addictive. So
Sure. Okay.
Unless we figure out how to moderate that I don't know.
So then
I have
here's
mixed
the question.
emotions because I love video games so much.
Sure.
So much of my history is based off video games. So much of my culture, so much of my social circles, everything. But I've been exposed to a younger generation than me, and I see the effects of growing up in staring at a cell phone and just connected to people, Instagram, and like the social. I don't know. I see its effects on the younger generation, and so I'm sure this is exactly what our parents felt about our generation, right? And we're
Sure.
like, nah, it's fine. But I don't know, man. It's
my
hard
question
not to see what you see.
in response to that then is it not just video games, but is it like the different social culture that we have, especially with social media? Because video games are addictive, but is social media helping that or hindering that, or is it a worse affliction? Is it more addictive than video games? Because most forms of entertainment, we'll say, can be a fairly harmless means of escapism. But addiction to a point on anything can become harmful, depending on how one intakes it and responds to it. So do you think it's video games have gotten potentially more harmful, or is it social media and like the constant need for new information or validation that has sort of usurped our day-to-day lives?
I would say that honestly, it's like I can't remember the video game. It's like there's a bar here and a little ball that goes across, and you just move your little bar and it pings off. And if it hits one of those little bars on the right side, it'll come back to you faster, right? And you can do and it starts ping ponging back and
like
fast.
Pong.
Pong, yes.
Okay, yeah, the most like rudimentary game out there, almost.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel a strong Pong effect happening right now. Not only are video games super addictive, and they're creating a path for people to go down, but also social media is another something over here that we're bouncing off of, and I think that those walls are getting closer, and so the ball is going and smashing in between so much faster and more rapidly that to me it seems like the brain is overloaded. Our whole our whole history, our whole what is the word, evolution of the way our brains work is just not equipped to deal with the amount of information that is shooting through our eyeballs and ears. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like that's what I feel. It's just
so that's actually part of a term that's used to discuss the intake. The massive intake of knowledge, and it's called information overload. And information overload is something that we do, especially on social media, where you have this addiction to keep needing more new content.
Yes.
And so video games can certainly do that, especially when it comes down to the constant need for that achievement noise.
Exactly.
The trophy pops up. Like there's, it's an endorphin, rush. It's feeding the stimulus response.
Correct.
But yeah, with social media especially, the fact that you can, get on Facebook, scroll down for 10 minutes, but then by the time you press the home button, there's going to be 10 minutes worth of new content for you to now scroll down through before you press the home button again to go see what's new since then. And it's this constant need and intake of people's lives, everybody else's lives, that we attach ourselves to, and we feel the need to say something about it. We feel the need to do something about it. We feel the need to let them know, our opinions on what they're doing. Which incidentally is going to be a great segue into our next subject. But so technology has now led us to the point where we have access to everything. We have access to all things, not just knowledge, but each other, people's jobs, people's workspaces, people's thoughts, people's opinions. Do you think that maybe we need to regulate the idea that we need to be sort of like spaced further back from one another, and let ourselves sort of take a break from social media or the amount of people that we let in daily?
Honestly, I don't feel like we are going to be able to handle. Okay, hold on. Let me rephrase this.
Sure.
When a person is addicted to heroin, I think that it is near impossible for that addicted person to overcome the addiction themselves. I think that what happens is they hit a rock bottom to where literally everything adds up to their life crashes in on itself, and therefore they are forced to make a change or not change and die. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think that that's actually what's going to happen in our future. Technology is going to get to the point where we are unable to hit the little reset button and be like, you know what, I'm just need to unplug for a while, go to my cabin, breathe in the natural air, and just refigure out who I am. I think that is going to happen less and less. I think that the crash is much more inevitable, especially because technology in and of itself is addictive, but the technology companies, backed by the fuel of capitalism, where they are literally writing the code to keep you addicted, right? They're using the addictive nature, the technology, and they're super powering it with personalized in engineering and code. You know what I mean? Like, it is.
Sure.
They are 100% targeting you to keep you on their platform all the time, all day. New dings, new notifications, and everybody's doing it. Video games are doing it. Social media is doing it. The news is doing it. They don't care what content they're spitting out. They just want eyeballs on their product.
Right, whatever gets the highest numbers and ratings. Exactly.
And so since so many things are literally tractor beaming you, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter which tractor beam you're going to get caught up in. You're just going to get caught in a tractor beam. You can no longer be on the earth. That's what I think is going to happen. It's just it's too much. And I think that there's like I said, the crash is coming. Don't know what the crash is going to be. Don't know what it's going to look like. But I think that that's more likely than people just holding hands and being like, all right, we see the problem, guys. Let's stop this.
Sure. So do you take social media breaks periodically? Is that something? I know you're not on a lot. I don't
Correct.
see you on Facebook very frequently, and then it seems like every 3 or 4 weeks you'll pop back on, you'll make some comments on my posts or other people's posts, and then you're sort of off again. It seems like you're very sort of sporadically jumping in, catching up to a small degree, but then focusing on everything else outside of that.
That is correct. My social media of choice, my addiction is just I'm the couch potato. I'm much less interested in the comings and goings of people's lives, Facebook or whatever, Twitter.
Sure.
I'm much more interested in the drooling me on a couch being entertained by a movie, document. You know what I mean? The classic form of basically video games, where you sit there and you're just engaged, not necessarily caring or whatever about what's going on in this person's life or whatever. It's
okay, and that's kind of going back to where we were in the late 90s and 2000s, because even with MySpace, we were kind of on it, but I don't think we even focused on it that much. We were on LiveJournal occasionally, but even that wasn't it didn't suck us in to the degree that what social media has done now.
No, because I feel like it was added to our lives, so we were able to kind of take our little teaspoon, dig it in there, and sprinkle that delicious flavoring of MySpace and social media onto our lives, and so it could add flavor. But we weren't raised in it, right? We weren't coming out of the womb with a direct link to social media, so we're not addicted at birth like the newer generation is.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's why I think it wasn't such a big deal for us.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So it's not that I'm unplugged. I'm just plugged into something else that just so
you're just it's sort of elsewhere. Everybody's got an escapism, and yours happens to be just something else.
Correct.
Okay. So as far as like technology that you've seen, because we've seen great advances in technology, with you have a computer in your home, I'm sure that can render basically anything. You could play a video game that looks like anything.
Totally.
Where do we go from here? What happens in 10 years? Because, like I said, virtual reality is sort of, getting up there. Mm-hmm. Do you think we'll be to the point where controllers have become such a standard that we don't want to let go of that? Or do you think it will get to the point where we evolve into like full VR rooms where we are completely immersed and that becomes such a standard that there's no going back? Does that change? In 50 years, does that become something else,
I don't think so. When I try to project that far forward, I don't see holodeck type stuff. I see more Matrix stuff where things are directly wired into us rather than us interacting with an electronic environment. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
So
do you think that's something in our potential lifetime? Because people know that we're getting up there in years. So I turned 40 in just a couple days, but the projection on this question is, what happens in the next 10 years versus what happens in the next 50 years. Jeez. I mean, do you think we'll make it to 90, and what will technology look like in more than double our lifetime? And I can't conceive it, because at this point, I don't know what to think. I have no idea where to even conceive, because things are happening right now that if I showed my, 25 or even 20-year-old self, I'd be like, there's no way. That sounds great, but that's simply not possible, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy that's like, the reason. Okay, so I think that if we were to project forward enough, 10 years, mm-hmm. I just imagine. I don't think VR is gonna be a thing in the next 10 years, mm-hmm. but I think that some technology is gonna happen to where we're able to interact with the video game internally in some ways, so where that we don't need a controller. Mm-hmm. Something will trigger the button push. There's going to be some sort of
neck implant into the spine, so a cerebral controller of sorts that allows us to simply think it.
I think that's going to be the route. But I'll be that guy that says that the reason we're not going to get to that point is because I think that some worldwide event is going to prevent that from happening sooner than later. I think that we'll still get there. I think that something mm-hmm. is going to happen to put a pause on progress.
You think it's something catastrophic?
Yeah, I think that we're just kind of a car on the freeway that's going faster and faster and faster and faster. Mm-hmm. And then at some point we're going to run out of road, or we're going to see the end of the road coming but be unable to stop in time.
We've gotten just so reckless with the advancement of technology that we don't have the discipline to not control it.
Yeah, and even it could be anything. It could be natural resources, climate mm-hmm. change. There's going to be some real world event that puts a stop to the the rock and roll mm-hmm. system that we're on right now. Just live long, play hard. I think that something's going to happen to where it's like, all right, hold on, we got to rethink this.
Who knows? Last year nobody predicted that this was going to put a halt on anything.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's true.
We didn't see this coming. We've watched dozens of movies in our lifetime about you get sick, everybody does the right thing, and then the world overcomes it, or the virus spreads and we die. Mm-hmm. So mm-hmm. We've seen in movies all those outcomes, and we think that, oh, of course that's fiction. We'd be fine. Our technology has allowed us to get to the point where we wouldn't have to worry about that. We'd be okay.
Yeah. Well, technology solves a lot of problems, but it creates problems down the line.
Sure. And now that we have the technology to do these things, we're still getting, and this is one of your bullet points, vaccines. Why do people not want to take it?
Yes. I mean, I'm confused because I live in my own little bubble. So I was curious to what you think and what your bubble is.
Sure. Well, I do very strongly believe in the science and the advancement of technology and medicine, and feel that it has been far proven. A lot of people have sort of pushed this off as it has to be some sort of government hoax, and these are people who love the government greatly because they want their Second Amendment rights to be fulfilled, which, hey, I have a problem with whatever you're thinking on that. But it's a really strange sort of paradigm because people simply want this feeling of like unsupervised freedom. And, you know, the reason a lot of countries work is not because like pure anarchy. I think there's a lot of anarchist concepts that could actually work to a degree, but we still have structure that keeps things in place. You know, like there might be institutions such as like the police institution which become problematic, but also we have stop signs and stoplights that stop us from running our cars into one another and dying. So like there are certain, you know, essential structures that we've established that have, you know, kept the peace extremely well, and then certain things that are not autonomous that become problematic. But in terms of a virus outbreak and people not wanting to, you know, there are certain things such as medical reasons, and there are unproven test factors such as like, you know, children 12 and under, which obviously we're reaching for and we're pushing really, really, really hard to try to get those things handled. Some people simply can't take it, which is a very small number, I think.
Yep.
But that's all the more reason, I think, for people who can take it to want to take it, is to protect those that cannot. And it seems almost ludicrous that anybody would be given the option to say, hey, this could potentially save people's lives, and they go, no. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know what they're putting in there. I don't know what's inside. And these are people who will take Tylenol, and people who will take cough syrup, and people who will snort cocaine, or people who will have cell phones in their pockets. And there's a whole...
Or drink Coca-Cola. Look at the ingredients in that.
It's right. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what causes... One of my favorite things to do is to really try to delve into the mind of people who I disagree with and learn so I can understand how to communicate better, and garner information to have hopefully a good conversation. But I have yet to find anybody so far who has said anything that makes even remote sense to me. Yeah. Because it always comes down to like, you know, you can't tell us what to do. The government can't make us do anything. We're a free country. And like they just sort of throw out like this crazy rhetoric that assumes that they are just 100% anarchic spirits in like this country that can do literally whatever they want because they thought like that's what like the founding fathers did.
No,
and
I was
like, so
I'm
strange,
hearing
misguided
the same thing. I'm
concept
hearing the
of freedom.
same thing.
I want to know what you think. Yeah,
I'm kind of worried that I'm not in a bubble, and therefore it's informing my opinion in a certain way. But I can't. I'm like you. I haven't heard something compelling that would make sense to my brain to not get the vaccine.
Yeah, I mean, if you go to the doctor with a cold and the doctor
motivated.
prescribes you medicine, what do?
You take the medicine, dude.
You don't just ignore it and say, "Oh, fuck you, I want my freedom."
No,
because
exactly.
that's ludicrous.
When I get injured, here's my programming. Okay, I'm a very simple man.
Sure.
I assume somebody else out there has specialized their life in such a way that they know more about a particular subject than I am, so I will trust them. And you want to know why I believe in that? Because I drive over bridges every day. Yeah. If you left it up to me to build a bridge, a lot of people are going to die, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I know this is a very simple way of looking at it, but I literally just extrapolate this out to most things in life. I believe that the people who know about a religion and have dedicated their life to this religion, well, I assume they know more about that religion, and therefore they have good reasons to just devote themselves to that. I believe that the same thing with doctors and this vaccine. I believe that these guys studied it. They've done the calculations, and they're like, all right, we are into this vaccine, and we think that you should take it. And I'm like, all right, I trust you, sir. I will get this vaccine.
Sure.
Right? So,
yeah, I mean,
and I just haven't heard a compelling argument from the other side that doesn't sound like it's literally what you just said. It's just this strange political thing where where you're letting something else that is kind of related, I guess, inform your opinion on this decision and probably other decisions. And to me, it's very confusing because that same person will go opposite that, and if they get injured, they're definitely going to the hospital, and they're definitely trusting a doctor explicitly.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a really good comparison about this, which is, because a lot of people like to play armchair analyst and think that, well, I did my research and I found that, this is why the vaccine is bad for you. And none of it is ever compelling. None of it has ever been like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I've never sat down and, surfed YouTube and the internet for a couple hours and thought, oh, this is why pilots shouldn't fly. I know, I studied, I know more than a pilot piloting a plane who's been training for this for decades. I know more than him. This is why. No. Same with doctors. Doctors are literally dedicating their lives to this for this very purpose. Why on earth would I think that anybody but them is qualified to tell me that it's not okay? It's so, the argument seems really strange to me. And a lot of it, I think, comes down to, more than anything, people simply not wanting, their rights to be trampled upon. But then the counter argument to that is, if you're allowed to legally drive a car, what do you need?
You need a license, bro.
You need a license. Okay. Yeah. So you have a license. Can you go drive a tractor?
I don't know.
Probably. No, you need a permit or a big 18-wheeler.
Yeah,
you need specific licenses and specific permits. There are regulations put into place all over the place, but we're so used to it, we think that okay, that's just the way it is. But because it's a new regulation that's shown up, people are opposed to it because then they think it's an anti-freedom vehicle rather than the fact that they're just used to all the current regulations because that's just the way it is. But when this new one shows up that says, well, now this is the way it is because something new entered the equation, they get really mad thinking that, oh, you can't trample my rights.
Yeah, but what you're saying makes sense to me. I'm hearing the same things. So I'm worried that we're in a bubble. I don't know. But
it's weird.
What you're saying is making sense, John, because, dude, here's the thing that confuses me.
Sure.
This is where I can't even make sense of it. So I know people that are in the medical field. They're not doctors, but I know people that are in the medical field, nurses or whatever, that are super anti-vaccine. And that to me, this is a very similar thing to me that I was seeing during the Black Lives Matter movement, where certain Black Americans were coming out and speaking against the Black Lives movements, and I was like,
I've seen it. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and I kind of
doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I feel like they. I
what Kool-Aid are you drinking? And this is not a racial joke, but I mean that's the term. It is very much like a holy smokes, man. There's a cognitive dissonance going on that is saying, who is teaching you?
Correct.
What this is about. How on earth can this go against what is ostensibly your best interest, but you still found a way to make it problematic for you?
Yeah.
It's
super
weird.
Interesting. It's weird.
It is very strange.
It's weird, man. And you know what it is I kind of feel like it's just everybody's informing their decision based off of whatever they have to gain at that time. So if let's pretend for a moment that I was of a particular I made a particular amount of money. So I was a high earning individual, and I have stakes in the game to really care whether or not taxes are raised on me and my peoples.
Sure.
Right? Maybe then I'll go on a talk show and be like, well, I've done the numbers, and it will literally cost me a lot of money to give these Democrats what they want, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Then maybe I'll come out and be like, hey, I'll make this statement, even though it seems to be going against the what's better for my people.
Right.
Maybe I'll be willing to take a stance on that because I personally am making money off of it. Maybe network offered me some money. I don't know. I don't know why these people would speak out.
Sure.
Or make their decisions. I can only imagine that it has to be motivated by something. They're benefiting some way.
I mean, money or simply what they're taught. I think a lot of people still, without understanding, will regurgitate information because they're comfortable with it, they're familiar with it, it's what their dad did, it's what your grandpa did, it's what the family's always done, therefore we have to keep it going. But if you question why, then, you're trying to, tell me what to do. And it's, I think, almost more of a principle where people are responding simply to familiarity. I think that's part of it. But even then, that's not a good argument for why. But I do believe a lot of people are simply told by others, and it's usually family members that it comes from, why they shouldn't do something, or my daddy never would have done this, or my grandpa never would have done this. I feel like a lot of it probably also comes from just, tradition.
Yeah.
But a weird thing that I've experienced as well is oftentimes, and I've only had a handful of incidents at the store with people who refuse to wear masks, but more often than anything, the kind of people who will come in and have some sort of issue with a mask are the same kinds of people. So if we could try to explain this to them, hey, you might be helping somebody's life, you might be saving somebody who can't wear a mask, or get the vaccine, you might be helping out somebody, and if this saves even one person, is this worth it to you? Hey, my friend's dad died because of this disease. Does it matter to you? Hey, I know people that have gotten sick, and you can put these stories there, and they just say, yeah, but it's not worth the price of my freedom. And these are the same people that during the Black Lives Matter movement would respond with all lives matter as a retort,
Yeah.
And so you see sort of this really weird kind of you don't even care what you're saying. You're just being contrarian. You're just simply speaking against the grain because you want your freedom and you don't want somebody else's because it might infringe upon yours, even though it totally doesn't. And so it becomes just sort of this anti-response of things rather than anything that actually has logic or meaning to what they're saying.
Yeah.
And that's weird. It's frustrating. Because if you could do something that had the chance of even saving one person, would you just do it? At no expense to you.
And it's a very small expense that clearly it's really small. To just
I don't
wear a mask or...
Yeah.
God, I don't know, man. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Wearing a mask isn't my favorite thing, but I also don't care enough to ever think about resisting it, because
Correct.
it's I had to explain to this one guy, and he was like, it's proven that if you wear these masks for 6 hours a day, blah blah blah, and I was like, no, my dad wore masks every day for 12 hours a day for 40 years, and he's fine. That's not a thing, And he came in with this fake printed card around his neck that said, exempt from having to wear a mask. And I was like, that's not real, man. This is not a thing. There's no medical blah, blah, blah. That's not, you are pushing so hard against this, and I just don't get it.
Here's the thing that makes me laugh about people that might actually say well, I'm going to exercise my own freedom.
Mm-hmm.
They sure wouldn't like it if you exercised your freedom as a store owner and being like, well, I refuse the right to I'm refusing you service.
Oh yeah,
I'm
no, the guy
executing
absolutely
my
did
freedom.
not like that. When I told him, I said, you believe in, free country, right? And he goes, yeah. And I said, well, then I have the freedom to ask you to leave my store. And he goes, well, no, that's that you're being prejudiced or something. And I was like, no,
no,
you're literally
exercising my
yeah.
God-given American freedom, baby.
You believe in the free market, right? And he goes, yes. And I said, cool, then I'm allowed to kick you out of my store right this second. He was like, well, no, you can't. And I was like, I absolutely can. And I said, we have it posted that you have to wear a mask, and if you don't, you are technically and legally trespassing. So, how about we just sort of end this?
Yeah.
And
it's not like he tipped his hat to you and was like that.
The altercation didn't go quite as smoothly as that. Ariel had to step in and actually really sort of clean it all up and get everybody to leave, because I was starting to get flustered, and I'm pretty good about that kind of thing, but I was definitely getting to the point of visible irritation with this guy. So
yeah, because 1 + 1 was not adding up to 2. Because this guy was giving you a story that simply didn't add up. Didn't add up, bro.
It was just none of it made sense. That was all sort of just a bunch of nonsense, and I was just finally got fed up and was like, all right, whatever. And Ariel came in, sort of got the guy to scoot, but
yeah. What blows me away about the whole thing, it's okay, cool. You believe that it's infringing on your freedom. I kind of feel if you're a gung-ho freedom person,
mm-hmm.
There are other things that are happening in the government that you should be much, 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 much more upset about than whether or not you should take a vaccine.
Or wear a mask in my store for 10 minutes.
There
are much bigger problems.
Exactly. There's much bigger fish to fry. You're planting a flag in the ground of...
Mm-hmm.
this island that has no vegetation, and there's really no reason to defend this. You know what I'm saying? This tiny little island. Why are you fighting this? It's you could make a bigger difference sticking your flag in the ground and saying no further, but do it on this other subject that's going to be a much
fight
larger
against
impact.
Corporations taxing you to death. You know,
Yes.
go fight against unequal wages and unlivable pay for people. Fight for the homeless that are out in the streets that need some. Yeah, there's a million better causes than I'm going to get a shot.
Fight for yourself, and because if you're not one of the rich elites of this world, then you are technically lower on that pyramid, and they're making money off of you. So, like, think of lobbyists, think of these corporations and super rich individuals that are literally seem to be exempt from. They're like kings.
Oh yeah, the people that could walk over to you, step on your neck, shoot you in the face, and then bribe a guard to look the other way, and no one would ever know.
No one would ever know, and
because they have enough money to get away with it. Yeah,
exactly. And even if they did get arrested, the whole system is rigged because they have money.
Nothing would happen to them.
Pay to play. Exactly.
Yeah.
So you fight that cause. That's
a
much
I
bigger
agree.
one.
I agree. It seems like a weird thing to get hung up on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That I think that there's echo chambers out there. And I apologize for people listening that if you think that me and John are in an echo chamber, it's entirely possible. And
we're two people sitting there agreeing with each other, so sure, we are.
Yeah.
But, I also, please just care about other people is the big thing. I guess I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you that what you do has an effect on other people, whether you want it to or not. So, I guess make that choice, and for hopefully the right reasons. I can't tell anybody what to do, and I'm not going to. Yeah. But, just think about others when you make choices.
Exactly. Really look into where you're getting your information and why you're believing what you do. Because I did that. I looked at myself. I'm like, wait, why do I think the way that I think? And I questioned it.
Sure.
I found the points that didn't make sense. I acknowledged them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, dude, you're talking right now, John, to a person who still believes that God exists, that Jesus was born a human and is still the Son of God, and I still believe that Jesus is God. Despite all of the you know what I mean, the circle of friends that I have, thinking that I'm crazy for this belief, despite all the science that would point towards, it's just literally just Big Bang and the cosmos just happened because of this. Like, I'm still, I still believe what I believe because I've gotten the information, and that's the information that makes sense to me.
Well, here's the thing.
So, like, I get where you're coming from, but like I've put the mirror to myself and been like, why do you believe this? And I'm still comfortable.
Is your belief harming people?
I don't think so.
I mean, are you using your belief as a whole? I guess I can't speak for like the whole of the belief, but like with what you choose to believe and what makes sense to you, are you using it to harm people?
I don't think so, man.
I don't think so either. And I think that's why there's a big difference between like what you can do and say, hey, this is what makes sense to me and works for me, versus, hey, if you don't do what I believe, then there's going to be a problem. And that's where the issue comes up,
It's true.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a structure or spirituality or religion at all if it's not causing you to accost other people who have different ones.
It's true.
Then no harm, no foul, as far as I'm concerned. And I'll be honest, I believe very much in the concept of a creationism and evolution and science coexisting completely. Who says something can't be created to evolve?
I agree.
I believe religion and science are very intertwined in a lot of senses, with religion being a way for us to explain what we do not yet understand.
Exactly. And it helps the masses.
However that works for people, I think is important. I think a little bit of faith can really genuinely help people, as long as you're not using it to actively harm people.
I agree. And you don't see me out there conquistadoring and taking over tribes and harming other people in the name of my beliefs. So
no. But you would like that if it were like a whole bunch of giant like white knights with huge like white lances and gold trimmed armor.
Correct. As long as the enemy is is clearly a bad guy and not like human. You know what I mean? Like, let's go kill those on Lord of the Rings. What are the bad guys? They're like orcs.
It's like the
or
orcs
whatever.
or orcs. Yeah.
Let's go kill some orcs, man.
Okay.
They're not humans. Let's do it.
That's
I'll go kill some aliens.
All right, that's fair. That's good. Let's. I think we found it.
I'm ready.
So then we also have a couple more talking points, so we can get ready to wrap up pretty soon. We've been going for almost an hour and a half.
We could postpone them till later. I mean, they're literally just ideas that popped in my head, so we don't have.
Yeah, and I think those are good. Let's go ahead and save those for next week. I think there's some more good conversation to be had because, I mean, we could go on for a very long time about any of these other two as well.
That's the nature of me and you.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
We have a good time talking to each other just in general.
Just in general.
So it's very easy for us to just go down the rabbit hole.
Sure. Yeah. It's easy to do. We could talk about anything all day, forever. But, so the only problem is, and I guess we could try to do this verbally because I can't see you. Your video is still frozen on my end,
really?
Which is fine because I'm going to be putting the superimposed camera footage over yours anyway. So like it's ultimately moot to the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
But it means if I want to do like a verbal or like a laughing game, the 1 minute challenge with you, I can't see you, so it's gonna have to be you trying to make me laugh through like a joke because I have no visual reference.
That's perfectly fine, dude. I'm ready.
Are you okay?
I'm always ready.
Can you see me? Is my video still fine?
Your everything is super good on my end. I even see myself moving in my little mini camera. So I don't know, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I think I had like a weird sort of like seemed like connection hiccup. I'm gonna try refreshing it real quick and see if it like does anything. It doesn't seem like it's going to, but we'll see.
All right.
Yeah, it's just sort of like it's just loading the Discord video for forever. It's like a square with two little purple squares just swiveling around each other. Anyway, doesn't matter.
It's fancy.
Okay, so I guess what I could do then is, if I'm just I'll try to make you laugh verbally, unless you want me to try to do something physical.
No, you just do whatever you want to do. I can see you, so you have no limitations. I'm the one with the one arm cuffed behind my back, but I'm still ready, man.
Okay.
You want to go first?
All right, sure. Yeah, let me go ahead and I'm gonna get my my clock set. Okay.
Hold on, I gotta go to timer.com. What is that? What is that? What is it?
Oh, is the Google timer?
Google.
Feels like a Google timer. Yeah, you can put something in there.
I put Google timer. Oh God, I did it again. Google timer. All right, 5 seconds. Oh, I'm gonna click on stopwatch. It's easier.
Oh, okay.
You tell me when you're ready. I'm gonna click it.
All right. So I hate this because without being able to see you, I don't know what kind of reaction I can elicit. This is going to be an interesting challenge. All right. So. All right. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Let's go. Starting now. What's the matter, young one? You found a coin from the devil?
You're so. I hate you, dude.
I'm sorry.
I made the mistake of looking into your eyes. All right, fair enough.
All right,
Fair
good,
enough.
good. Challenge completed. Check it off.
All right, fine.
Okay, this is all oral for me. I can see nothing, so.
All right.
I'll close my eyes and pretend I'm there with you.
Okay, ready? All right, so I'm going to click on reset here, and I'm going to click on my timer in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Mother Teresa, please wake up, Mother Teresa. No.
Okay. All right. All right, John, I want you to imagine you're in a ski resort and you're telling your daughter, "No, honey, I can't go down, honey." And it's because you have this raging boner and she's just like, "Please go down with the hill with me, Dad, please." Oh, no. Okay. All right. All right, imagine you're in Nam, you're back in Nam, and your friends stepped on a mine. He's like, I don't care no more, and he took his foot off of the mine, and boom, it blew up. But it was a small mine, and it only took off his toe. And he was like, man, my foot, man.
Blew his toes off.
It was a small mine.
There were a lot of factors in this that made me hate you, such as when you were looking for Mother Teresa, it just sounded like she was coughing, and that almost got me.
You know what's funny is in my mind, she was kind of in a not good situation, like on a bed, heaving, maybe possessed, maybe fighting off some possession. That's what
Your
I
video
imagined.
also just popped back up.
Oh,
So that's perfect time. Yeah. Okay. The Mother Teresa thing was good. The daughter at the ski resort was upsetting.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you said back in Nam, I was thinking, like, did I return, or am I just having like a go back in time to watch my friend get his toes blown off from a small mine?
they
So wearing like
really
open-toed
small
shoes
one.
or what?
It was like a firecracker
No,
mine.
just a black cat.
Yeah, it's like
between his toes.
Yeah, dude. Some nations can't afford the big mines. You know what I mean?
I suppose that's true. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well,
It was a good episode. It was a good.
this is a good
time
episode.
to do
I look forward to doing these. In fact, I was glad you remembered today. It was kind of a busy day for me at the store, so when I saw your text, I was like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be good." You know, I get excited. I think about this.
Next week, I'm gonna buy an arm, and I'm gonna hold the mic up that I got. It's like a Fine.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It's like a cheap man's mic, but I'm gonna hold it up here, so maybe my
I'm
audio
using
will
this
sound a little
Yeti,
bit more
which has like a
professional.
stand that
Yeah,
I got,
yeah,
which is kind
see?
of cool.
You have a blue Yeti? I got the poor man's Yeti, the
Yeah.
Fine K678. It's the knockoff.
Okay. Yeah,
So
a buddy of mine got me
hopefully
this
when
one.
it's closer,
He
it'll sound a little better. Hopefully, we'll see. I don't know.
bought it, and I don't think he actually wanted it, but
Dude, I wish I had buddies.
I mean, you got bloody buddies.
Hey, buddy.
Chocolate me, buddy. Think anybody's gonna get like a 25-year-old Adam Sandler CD reference?
No, I
No.
don't. In fact, I don't even know that many people these days know who Adam Sandler is that isn't our friends, like our age group.
That's true. Yeah, it's definitely early. I guess we're early millennial, late Gen X, sort of like a cross, like on the cusp. Is about where we are. I don't know.
Anyway, if you haven't heard Adam Sandler CDs, it's worth it to go out there and listen to them. They're still funny. I don't. Oh
There's
no!
still
Am I
some
that guy
pretty-
that thinks like the old timer that's like, no, man, Monty Python is the funniest thing, and I'm like, when I was a kid, I was like, no, Monty Python's he ain't got no game, man.
Right.
He ain't got no game. Charlie
You weren't
Chaplin.
into Monty Python. That was not your kind of humor.
Nope.
Has that changed?
No.
No, still not it.
I'm still a hater.
Just vehemently against him.
Yeah.
You'll buy it so you can burn it.
Yeah. I also don't think Chris Rock is that funny though. That'll
It
upset a lot of
depends
people.
what he's in.
I don't know.
I feel like in
that's
certain
true.
movies, I might like
movies
him.
is funny. Yeah, but I'm talking
Yeah.
about stand up. Like I just.
Oh man, stand up is hit or miss. Like
I
you
know.
could have one of the funniest people because like they're scripted. It's like, you know, they can respond well, but when it comes down to like improv, sometimes it's like, oh dude, this is not so good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. I agree.
I love you.
Love you too, Jason. It's been a pleasure. I will
Yes.
talk to you not next week, the week after next.
In 2 weeks, hopefully we'll
2
do
weeks.
this again.
Hot cha-cha.
All right, go invest, everybody, and also go get a vaccine, and also go watch Adam Sandler CD. Or no, not
Go watch it.
Listen.
Yeah, I mean, you can watch it.
Yeah, you can probably.
Put it on a centrifuge and just let it go.
It's probably somebody that made like a YouTube like animation of it. You know where they like.
Oh,
somebody
yeah, that's a
animates
good point, actually.
Yeah.
Little videos of it. Okay. All right, everybody have a good night. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time on Razorburn. It's never going to be synced.
Okay. All right. Have a good
All
night,
right, we'll
John.
see you guys next time. Good night.